Good afternoon or good evening, fellow FKBT members. It's good to see you guys on here. Again, it's just me. I got a few folks. I got Sean probably hopping on here in just a minute. So, yeah, it's good to see everyone. Harrelson, Robert, Paul, what's going on, guys? Glad to see you guys watching. I know we got quite a few more folks that are tuned in. Drop a comment below who's watching right now, and we'll be able to interact a little bit more. I see Todd Ezekiel. Welcome back, sir. I saw your message, so it's good to see you there. Good to be back. Andrew Cordero growing the stat. Yep, stash is growing back. So, hey Todd, I saw your email. I'm in the middle of responding back to you in regards to liability waiver and all of that stuff too. So I know that you're not on social media, so I'll send you an email here shortly with our updated rules, liability waiver, and schedule and whatnot to get you squared away for that. But if you have any questions on Tourney X or whatever, just let me know and I'll get you squared away here after tonight's live. So. Hey, Barbara, how are you doing? Evan, I see Hunter Taylor on here as well. So I appreciate Justin Speece is on here as well. Appreciate you guys hopping on. Again, we're going to talk this upcoming season schedule. We're going to go over the Central Lake Challenge that kicks off our 2025 season this next Saturday on October 11th. So it's going to be a fun-filled or action-packed live tonight. So if you guys have any questions, please drop your comments in the comment section below, and I will do my best to monitor that and answer those questions to the best of my ability. Jeff Gallagher is the one that has worked really, really hard in getting these Central County or county challenges dialed in. So if it's confusing or for whatever reason, or you have any questions on if water is eligible or anything of that nature, again, direct questions right to Jeff Gallagher. Sean is also going to be posting a Google Map overlay to our social media, our Facebook page there that you guys can save onto your phone and open that up, and it'll give you a real life overlay with points that you can that it'll give you direct points to the boat ramps and eligible bodies of water. So it makes it really, really easy when you're out on the water in real time, pre-fishing or during the event, to say, hey, how far am I from this boat ramp on this lake? You can pull it up, click that drop or that pin, and it'll say however long you are from where you're currently at to get to that boat ramp. And also allows you to know, hey, if in fact where you're fishing is eligible water or not, which is fairly simple on these Central County challenges, because pretty much if you're in the 10 or the 11 lakes that are listed in the canals that are attached to them, you're in eligible bodies of water. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for everyone to understand. But again, you guys may have questions, but we'll dive more into that here in a minute. Just giving some time for folks to hop on. So before we get started, to where they don't have to go back and watch the first couple minutes. So I'll give it about another 30 seconds or so, and then we'll get started. But again, we appreciate your guys' time. We're looking forward to this kickoff to the season on October 11th, and hopefully you guys are just as excited as we are to get another season underneath our belt. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got a lot of cool concepts and things for these events that are coming into play. We're excited to see how it all pans out. The one thing I will say before we get started, disclaimer here, right? So this is our first year doing the Central County Challenge, or the Lake County Challenges. So we're doing one in Central Florida, South Florida, and North Florida. So any way that we can be to make this concept better, let us know. We're trying the Winter Haven chain for our central event, just because of the proximity to the majority of our members living in Central Florida. And so if there's anything, any advice or any tips that you can give us, again, we're taking that feedback after each event and putting it in a notebook to hold on into our pocket for planning of the next year, and how we can make things better for the seasons to come. So what's going on, Robert? Good to see you there. I'm happy to be back. It's been pretty busy with me here since I moved to Grand Forks. I've been doing a lot of smallmouth fishing. If you followed some of my stories on Facebook, I've been crushing smallmouth up here, which has been a lot of fun. I think my best 5 this past weekend was around 25, 26 pounds for my best 5, which is really cool. A lot of fun. They're actually, surprisingly, these smallmouth are not really pressured at all. So going out there makes it a lot of fun because they're like, "Ooh, what's this?" And pretty much all day, you spend all day catching big fish, which is really, really cool. Especially when you're catching 16, 17 inchers, 18 inchers that are weighing almost 4 pounds, because they're just full of bait, which is, really hard to fathom. But that's the case oftentimes here. So. But yeah, I will also kind of want to hit on this past weekend. We had some anglers go up to fish the Bassmaster event on the Toledo Bend. Had a really good showing. I saw Christopher Blanco's post. He was able to secure big bass in that event with a 26 incher caught on day 2. He had, I think, 14.5 inches on day 1, and then on day 2 caught 100.25, which, if I'm not mistaken, looking back at it, he was the only angler in that field to crack over 100 inches, which is really, really cool. So really good job there, Christopher Blanco, on that. That's amazing. I can only imagine if you were able to catch a limit on day 1 that you would have walked away there with a top 5 pretty easily. So really good showing there nonetheless. And then I believe we had Seth Taylor out there, finished in the top 5 as well. So congratulations to Seth Taylor, and all other anglers that went out there from Florida, not just members of the club, but any Florida anglers that went out there to fish. Really good job out there in representing the state. And hopefully you guys are able to get out there a little bit more often next year and fish some of those bigger national level events and represent Florida and take home more of those big blue trophies back to the state. So I'm super excited and very, very grateful to see you guys out there representing well. So really cool experience for there. What I will do is I'm going to kind of go ahead and jump into this so that we're not taking, too much of your Monday night. And just, field any questions that you guys may have. So registration for our event is live on TourneyX. So for you guys, where TourneyX might be a newer platform that you've never used, we switched from Fishing Chaos over to the TourneyX platform this year based off the feedback that was received during the off season from the majority of our anglers. With that comes some learning curves for myself. So hold on a second. I see Sean. I'm going to add him to this. Sorry, Sean.
What up?
It didn't add you like it normally did. So sorry about that.
Left me in the background.
That's okay. I just looked down and saw a little blue dot, and I was like, oh, someone's back there. So great to have you on. But I was just going over a little bit about the TourneyX platform. So we're going to join. I'm going to have Dwayne Wally hop on here, hopefully sometime this week. Or it might have to come after our next event. Just be patient with me. This is a new platform for myself on the back end. So we're still learning a lot from the tournament director standpoint. And we're also the first official kayak club that is utilizing the club feature within TourneyX. So there's some learning curves there as well as on our behalf and as well as TourneyX. So I think we got a lot of the kinks ironed out there. But if you're having trouble finding where to join the FKBT, like the pay your club membership dues on TourneyX, just reach out to me or post a question on our official Facebook page. Email me at floridakayakbasstrail@yahoo.com. I'll put that email address in the comment section below here in a second. Hold on. I'll do that now. You guys just email your questions there, and I will be sure to get back to you and provide you with step-by-step instructions on how to register for club membership on Tourney X, and then where to go to find all of the club tournaments and the club page on Tourney X once you register. So it is a fairly streamlined app. It makes it pretty easy, but some of the links weren't working originally, so we were having some issues. And if you run into any issues, again, just reach out to me via my cell phone if you have my personal number, this email, or on any of our social media platforms. You can make a post on the Facebook page, send a private message, whatever it is, and we'll make sure to take care of you leading up to the first event. So our first event is live on the platform. Again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some of the payout structure, or not the payout structure, some of the fees, entry fees, and the payout structure of what that payout's going to look like for the event. So it's going to be $70. That does include Big Bass. So the breakdown of the fees per the angler is there's a Tourney X fee of $6.50 per angler that registers for each of our events. There's a stripe fee that goes per angler. That's $2.03. That's based off of 2.9% of the $70. And then we have an FKBT lunker, which is $5. So $5 out of that, $70 is going to go towards the biggest fish that's caught throughout the entire year, which will be presented after the championship. And then we have our administration fees, which is a $5 admin fee, and those fees go to cover all of our StreamYard, our QuickBooks, and our trophy checks that we give away at each event. And any money that's left over out of that $5 after all of our bills and trophies have been paid will then be turned over and transferred into our championship fund, which will help allocate some extra funds towards that. So our total fees, if you want to call it that, is $18.53. So that leaves us with $45 per angler that is going to be put towards the event payout, and then $5 per angler for Big Bass. So that is all out there. You can find a breakdown of those fees for the $70 on the tournament dashboard page in Tourney X. Again, want to make sure we're as transparent and open with you guys as possible in regards to, hey, where your money is going. We did up the price, but it included Big Bass, and we had to adjust some of that to accompany for some of the fees. Fishing Chaos allowed us to pass the fee over to the angler. So in Fishing Chaos, if you didn't have a Fishing Chaos membership, where you paid a monthly fee or annual fee to waive your individual tournament fees, you're paying around $6 and some odd cents there. So you probably would have seen like $66.60, I think, is what it ended up being for anglers that after you guys checked out on Fishing Chaos. So it's really not that big of a difference. The only thing is we coupled Big Bass into it. So there shouldn't be anything too crazy there. So when it comes to payouts, we're going to post financial recaps after each event as well, saying total number of anglers that participated, how much got contributed towards the lunker, how much went out towards Big Bass, and then we'll do first, second, and third, how much that money went out, and you'll be able to do the math yourself and see where that went. And we'll also put in there how much was transferred over to the championship pot, AOY pot, what have you, is what we generally do. Again, if you have any questions on how to get registered, right now when I looked, we got 4 anglers signed up for the first event. I know we're getting close. Well, it's almost October 1st in a few days, so we're within, a couple weeks, 2 weeks from our first event. But we just wanted to hop on here, do a quick breakdown, answer any questions to make sure that you guys are squared away for this upcoming season. Registration for club membership is $55, and that $2 out of that 55 goes towards, there's a Tourney X per angler fee to where after, and strike fee for that as well. So after the $55 is all said and done, what gets submitted into the club per each angler is like $51.10. So out of that $55 that you spend to be a join a member. 51 of that is what's deposited into our account, and that money is set aside to help purchase trophies and add to the overall championship payouts and what have you. And then any other miscellaneous things that might pop up throughout the year. When it comes to the business side of the house, we'll have to renew our license and whatnot through the corporation that we go through. So that there's fees and stuff associated with that, but I'll be sure to do a mid-season financial recap with that as well, like I've done in years past. So if you guys have any questions on that, sorry, that's the boring talk for the finance side of it with fees. But that breakdown that I talked about with fees, that's going to be the same for each event. We're not going to change it. It's going to be concrete. If you look at the rules fees and entry fee does not match what is on our Tourney X. What is on Tourney X is the most accurate. We have to go back. We have to go back in and submit our newer rules and update to reflect the $70 entry fee. I just haven't had time to do so. But and post it to the Tourney X, but that will definitely be something that'll happen before our first event. So yeah, if you don't have any questions with there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move through the Central Lake Challenge and talk about it. I already see a question here from Granger. Yes, just right off the bat to field your first question, Granger put up here and asked, is for the first event, are we able to lake hop? Yes, you can lake hop. Fairly simple, right? If there's a lake that's connected to another lake by a canal, you can go from one lake to the other through that canal, or you can get off at the boat ramp, load your kayak up, and then go to another lake, approved lake, and launch from there. You are most definitely allowed to do that. But let's dive right into the Central Lakes Challenge that's going to go on October 11th for the Winter Haven Multi-Lake Challenge. Okay, yeah, I'll get to Paul. Paul, I'll answer your question here in a second once I get done with this Central Lake Challenge. So the 11 lakes that are authorized for this multi-lake challenge, again, the PDF that I'm going off of right here is located on our Florida Kayak Bass Trail official Facebook page. It's in the featured posts, and it's also, if you go to the files, you can locate the file there. But it's also on the Tourney X tournament dashboard. On the far right-hand column, you'll see rules, and right underneath that, you'll see eligible launches. If you click the eligible launches tab, it'll take you to the Central Lake Challenge PDF, and it will have all your information there for inbound lakes and the authorized launches, as well as Sean's layered Google layer that he just posted to the Facebook page. So the 11. Sorry,
go ahead. You're good. No,
yeah.
You're good.
I'll talk to you later. Yeah, the 11 lakes that are eligible is Mud Lake, Lake Agnes, Lake Tennessee, Lake Juliana and Lake Maddie, Lake Lena, Lake Ariana, Lake Alfred, Lake Haynes, Lake Rochelle, Lake Connie, and Lake Smart. The driving distance between Mud Lake and Lake Rochelle is about 15 miles, roughly 30 minutes, depending on traffic in the area. Make sure that you guys are preparing for that. Lake Alfred Lions Park and boat ramp is going to be where we're going to be hosting our award ceremony. Our award ceremony. So make sure you guys are aware of where that is. The address will be posted within the Tourney X dashboard, where all the information for the tournament is outlined on the main homepage. Each lake here that I name off all have authorized launches to them. Some of the launch points are designed for small boats, which was a big reason and why we're doing these small lake challenges, is because we got complaints of some of the bodies of water that we're fishing are just big boat water, and people wanted to fish smaller bodies of water that didn't allow a mass amount of boats on it. So with that comes some sacrifice and smaller launches and smaller boat ramps.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah, what you got?
Hey, so if you look at that PDF that Jeff published, two of the lakes specifically are only accessible by either you launch out of, off the top of my head, Haynes or Rochelle, and you got to head south and it'll take you in the one lake and into another lake. Specific on that Google overlay, and it's not Connie, it's Conine. Uh, it's probably autocorrect. So don't get that confused. It's Conine, Conine. Autocorrect fixed it for me, then I'd go back and erase it and fix it.
Yeah.
So just to clear up some confusion. But if you look on the Google Map overlay, I'll post it here in a sec. I can't do it at the same time. I'm on this live, but under the notes, the two lakes that are south of Rochelle are only accessible by Rochelle through a canal, going into one and into the other. I don't want to mess up the names. If you look on the bottom of the PDF, Chris, if you look at the asterisk mark lakes,
Yep.
if you can say those off, but
yeah. So
yeah,
the two lakes that have asterisks are Lake Connie and Lake Smart.
yeah, and you can get to them from Rochelle, but that's the only way. They don't have ramps specifically, and Chris brought it up. Like Lena is very limited parking from my observations. Never been there before. So if anybody with knowledge, I know Jeff's local. He's not on here tonight. He can probably post some notes on what parking looks like on Lena. The other one,
Yeah.
smaller boat ramps, but more parking available. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to clarify some things.
No, you're good. Again, if you have questions, we're trying to make it as simple and streamlined as possible. But the biggest thing there is parking on some of these lakes. It is in a populated area. We've never hosted a multi-lake challenge like this before. It's a big undertaking. So again, any knowledge or any help or any feedback could be useful. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, a lot of these lakes do have limited parking space. And Connie has a ramp. Can we use it? If it is a public boat ramp, they can be used. Public boat ramps are eligible for launches.
Yeah, not private ramps.
Yep.
Was Conine specific no public launch on it on that PDF?
I'm going through it now. On Lake Connie, I don't see Jeff has placing it as having a boat ramp on it. Is Conine, Conine?
Yeah, it's Conine. All I'm asking on the PDF, is it asterisk marked as no public boat ramp? Okay. Then it has a ramp and it's marked on the Google overlay. So if I put a eligible launch on the Google Map overlay, or it's on that PDF, it's eligible launch.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So I don't see one for. Is it Conine or Connie?
Correct. Conine. Yeah. But it is public on the south side. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think anybody said Conine was not one of those without a ramp. But there is private ramps out there. For example, Lake Alfred, northwest side of Alfred. It's in a gated community, not a public ramp. You can't use it. I'll double check it tonight and make any adjustments. I did it over the weekend, but if there's a public or a private business that offers launching with a fee, we allow those. I don't think we missed any of those, but I'll take a look at it. If you guys can, by all means, shoot me a message. If there's a private business that offers launching to the public for a fee, I'm completely fine with that. So
yeah, and David Myers dropped the address to the ramp on the Conine in our comment section below there for folks. So we'll take that too and add that to our list. And what I'm also going to do is take the actual road addresses and put them on the Attorney X page, just for folks that might be challenged when it comes to Google Maps and overlays. I don't know what the right terminology is, but just not being able to. Some people aren't technical savvy when it comes to that, so we'll provide the actual physical addresses to. In there just for folks to have that can't use the Google Maps overlay. So, but yeah, again, you guys are able to lake hop and move throughout the different bodies of water. That's the whole point of this multi-lake challenge. So make sure that you guys are being respectful too. I would watch and verify that you guys are parking in legal parking spots, right? Because these are ramps that are patrolled by law enforcement. So if you get a ticket for parking illegally or what have you, then that's something that you're going to have to take up with the county there. Florida Kayak Bass Trail is not going to be paying any sort of parking ticket, right? Understand your local and state laws when it comes to parking. If the parking lot is full that only has 3 or 4 people parked in, the 3 or 4 parking spots are full, then just continue on to the next lake. That's why you guys are able to go out there and pre-fish and do all of your scouting out ahead of time, right? So if you're going in blind, just know that if that parking lot is full or that boat ramp's full, then you're probably going to have to move on to another body of water. So just be mindful of that. But yeah, so multi-lake, the authorized launches, Mud Lake has a public boat ramp. Lake Agnes has a public boat ramp. Lake Tennessee as well has a ramp. Lake Juliana and Lake Maddie are both accessible from the Lake Juliana public boat ramp. Lake Lena has a public boat ramp. Lake Ariana has a public boat ramp. Lake Alfred, where our ward location is going to be at the Lake Alfred Lions Park, has a ramp. Lake Haynes and Lake Rochelle both have public boat ramps there. So if there is a creek or what have you that is feeding out of any of those approved lakes, those bodies of water are eligible to fish. If there are signs posted when you enter a canal or whatever and it says no fishing allowed, then no fishing allowed. Follow your state and your state laws when it comes to that. If there's signs posted that there's no fishing allowed, then don't fish it. If you come up on a levee, do not cross that. If you come across in a lake or in a canal where it is physically blocked and you can't get to the other lake, you are not allowed to portage over that into the other lake. If it is blocked by any physical barrier or buoys that say don't enter, do not enter. That's as far as you can go. Turn around and exit from where you entered the water from. Is a simple. That's the simplest way I can put it. Right? You can't launch from someone's backyard. So if you live on the Winter Haven chain, you are not allowed to launch from your backyard into any of those lakes. You have to launch from a public boat ramp. I've had that question before. So I wanted to make sure that that is addressed immediately so that you guys are aware of that. Any questions so far in regards to that we haven't already addressed? Yep. So it looks like some of you guys are already. I see Paul Roach on here said he has a question on identifiers. He didn't fish last season and didn't get the latest PVC card. He says, I have the one from the previous season to last. Is that still valid? Any FKBT identifier that you have is an authorized identifier. This year we have Panda decals was brought to our attention. They are you can go on there and get some metal PVC identifier cards. They have last year's template to that they're putting on bigger there's multiple different types of formats that you guys can use to showcase that. But yeah, any form of an FKBT identifier is authorized. If you have paper, make sure that you have something to protect it. If it's a paper ID, just in case that it gets wet, you're not out in the middle of the water and not have a legible FKBT identifier. Make sure you have a few on hand. We're going to purchase, or we're going to have a few made. I'm not sure if they're going to be ready before the first event, but this year we're not going to be so strict with the identifiers. It's just not something that we're going to worry too much about this year. As long as you have the code 100% visible, then we're going to be approving the of the submissions. We're trying to make it as easy and streamlined as possible there for you guys. Yes. So for Dwayne, are you a member, or have you been added to our the Florida Kayak Bass Trail official Facebook page? If so, we have a file. There's a file tabs on our Facebook page that you can go to where we've posted links, PDF files for all of our latest identifier. Yeah, Justin, there is a file on Facebook. If you go type in on the search in the Florida Kayak Bass Trail official page, you search FKBT ID card, it'll pop up the file for you. And you guys can go there, download the PDF file, and print them. It's super easy. And just use a protective sleeve, and that'll be just fine. I've posted it a few times on our members page on the on there, but the easiest way to find it is you just go to the files tab on that private group, and it'll be there. I promise. But if you have questions, send me your email, or if you're not already a member, I'll go look you up. I'll have your email. I can forward you the PDF that way as well if you need it. Again, if you have any questions or you need any information, you need the rules, the 2025-2026 rules, and you don't have access to social media on our Facebook page where everything's posted, send me an email to floridakayakbasstrail@yahoo.com requesting, hey, I need the rules, or hey, can you send me the identifier card, or whatever you need. Just send me an email or a message, and I'll get you guys those documents. A lot of that stuff is all uploaded on the TourneyX platform on the dashboard. So you can also access that information there as well as the Facebook page. But yeah, I did see Andrew Cordero saying any recommendations on where to camp at. I have never been into that general area. I know that it's heavily populated with like neighborhoods. So I'm not sure if there's any sort of campground that is in and around that area. If there is someone that's from that area that may know, please drop it in the comment section below of any place where would be a good place to camp. I know by Lake Kissimmee, there's a Lake Kissimmee, there's parks and places to camp all around the west side of Lake Kissimmee, maybe Lake Toho in and around that area. So that might be a good place to look at to start. But for this, it's going to be kind of difficult to find a camping spot pretty close with it being in the middle of the city limits. There might be a KOA close. That might be your best bet. They allow tent camping there for fairly cheap, for like $30 a night if there's a KOA near there. Any other questions about the Central Florida Multi-Lake Challenge on the Winter Haven chain? Again, Sean is posting an overlay. Okay, Barbara said Lake Kissimmee campground's closed for renovation, so thank you for that, Barbara. Again, Sean is posting that overlay that you can use while out on the water to verify eligible bodies of water. Each pin has a description on it, so it'll tell you, what's needed. If you have any questions about the overlay, eligible bodies of water, reach out to Sean or Jeff Gallagher, and they can get you squared away on that. If you have any questions regarding rules, the liability waiver, tournament details, what have you, go directly to me. I will be the one that can provide you all of that information. Okay, Todd, I will get you approved for the FKBT Facebook page. And then Andrew, Granger Hieronymus said Colt Creek State Park is nearby that you guys can camp at. So look up Colt Creek State Park, and that'll be an option for you there. What I do want to go into is just doing a quick important tournament details on like pre-fishing, lines in, lines out for folks that haven't fished our events. This is going to be the standard. This is outlined in our rules as well. Across the board, the only deviation to these tournament details, lines in, lines out, pre-fishing, is whenever we host an event with the Native Big Bass, the Native No Limits tournament that is on Kissimmee on December 6th. Those events, when we co-host events with the National Trails, our club and all the members that are participating in both simultaneously, you are going to follow the National Trail rules, right? The stricter rules. So you got to be very familiar with that and understand that. We're going to follow all of their lines in, lines out, pre-fishing, motor, all of that. All of those rules will be mirroring to those trails. But for the majority of our events, any FKBT sanctioned event, Pre-fishing is going to end the Friday prior at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That goes for every FKBT sanctioned event. The Friday before at 6 p.m. So in this case, October 10th at 6 p.m. Is when pre-fishing will end. It is mandatory that all anglers watch the mandatory captains meeting that's going to take place on October 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so all anglers must watch and comment their names on that captain's meeting. They will be streamed on Facebook like it is now and on YouTube. Anglers must check in and off the water utilizing the check-in and check-off features on Tourney X. I'll just tell you this now. Going in and looking at it through the past 2 opens that we've done, there's been quite a few anglers that have failed to check in, meaning they're at the boat ramp, they're about to go out to their fishing spot. You have to check in to be on the water. Okay. And then whenever you get back to the boat ramp after 3 o'clock, right, you have until 3:30 to get back to that boat ramp. You need to be checked off the water. It's very simple for me to see who's been checked in and who's been checked off. And I will be going in and contacting those anglers at 3:30 saying, hey, where are you at? Why aren't you checked off the water yet? Eligible launches, again, you're going to be able to locate those on all of our tournament dashboards on Tourney X. Boundaries, again, we'll have overlays for each event. Those will also be found on our Tourney X dashboard, posted on our social media pages leading up to the events. Award ceremony locations for the Central Winter Haven Multi-Lake Challenge is going to be Lake Alfred Lions Park and Boat Ramp. We'll post the physical address on our Facebook page as well as put it on our Tourney X as well. Awards will start at 4 p.m. And on it appears that on our Facebook or on Tourney X, if you go to there, it will also show there's a link there for the printable ID cards. It will make you log into Facebook and it'll take you right to that post. If you have troubles with that, let me know and I'll try to get a better way to sync our PDFs into our identifiers into the Tourney X platform. But if you run into issues, just let me know. Again, if you have any questions regarding the tournament, how to join, the club email address is floridakayakbasstrail@yahoo.com. You will send filled all questions there. Anglers must have a signed FKBT liability waiver on file. Those are at the very bottom of the rules. It's attachment A. So this year, if you hadn't already seen, or if you didn't read the rules all the way through, this year we have done a rules acknowledgement signature. So saying, hey, members are going to sign this and date it saying, hey, that on this date I've read and I agree to all of the rules, right? That's that acknowledgement. So in the event that you were to break a rule, right, unknowingly or knowingly, right, this is us saying, hey, well, you signed the rules stating that this is, you're going to abide by them, and failure to do so will result in a disqualification. So if you do something that breaks the rule, i.e. not wearing a life jacket during time competing in one of our tournaments, that's an easy disqualification, right? If you don't report yourself or you get reported, however that transpires, we're going to disqualify you from our event. And then we're going to go back and say, hey, you broke this rule that's in this paragraph, in this section, blah, 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 blah. This is your first offense. If you continue to do this or you're a repeat offender, you will get removed. We will remove you from the club and not allow you to compete in any more of our events. Okay. So that's what that's going to look like. If we ain't double dipping national trails, no, if you're not double dipping in any of the national trails, you abide by our rules, the FKBT rules. Only if you are fishing in the national trail and you are also fishing in the FKBT event, you will follow the national trail rules. But if you're just competing FKBT, you follow FKBT rules. It's as simple as that. The waiver that was signed for the Summer Smash events are good for the entirety of the 25-26 season. So if you've already filled out a liability waiver and sent it to the Florida Kayak Bass Trail, I have a roster that I'm going to post on Facebook from emails that I've received from liability waivers and rules acknowledgement, just to say, hey, if you didn't get an email back from me saying, hey, thanks, I got it, I'll post that list there for everyone to say, hey, this is who submitted it, who I have on file. And I've already sent emails out to anglers who have registered for memberships that weren't, that I didn't have a liability waiver on file. So if you didn't receive an email from me, that's probably because I got yours on file, but I'll post a screenshot of it here tonight following this just to show you which ones I currently have on file. But yeah, thanks, Hunter, for that, and Justin for those questions. But again, we're excited for this season. I know Sean and I were not there. I know, Sean, are you planning on going to the first event?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, so we'll have Sean, we'll have Jeff there, we'll have Todd, we'll have Chris Clutter, we'll have all the big names there for the tournament directors. I will be doing everything on the back end from North Dakota, from the judging and what have you. So posting up everything. Again, we had a great turnout for the South edition, the Summer Smash South edition. We had a Chris Harrelson take home the dub there on Lake. What was that? Lake. Dang, I forgot the name of
Headwaters,
it. Headwaters. Yeah, Headwaters Stickmar. So congratulations there. He took home, I believe, $550 for the first place and big bass. So awesome job with that. So we wrapped up our opens. So starting October 11th, going through to the throughout the remainder of the regular season, all of these are going to be FKBT sanctioned events. So I'll stop talking for a minute. I'm going to turn it over to Sean to kind of let him. You want to cover a little bit about and talk a little bit about AOY and how that's being calculated this year? Or do you want me to?
I mean, I was going to highlight the Google overlay just real quick. With that Google overlay, don't freak out when you see it. There's no boundaries on there. The center of the lake is marked, and eligible boat ramps are marked. If you launch any of those lakes, like anywhere you can get to, you can fish.
Yeah.
Right. And Chris already specified if it's blocked, which I didn't see anything that could possibly be blocked. It's eligible water to be fished. AOI specifically. So if you guys are not tracking, we're not doing the point system anymore. It's going to be based off what you produce on game day each week. So if you produce 100 inches, you earn 100 points, and it's cumulative throughout the year. Every event counts, including the championship, and that's so what's the word I'm looking for? Consistency pays off in the end for the AOI. Whoever commits time and to the events, fishes every event, and places well throughout the year, shows the most consistency is going to win. It's about what you produce each week. So that's pretty cut and dry, down and dirty. So go ahead.
And if you catch a limit, every limit you catch, you get an additional 10 points. I forgot. Yeah. So if you catch a limit, right, and you catch an 80-inch limit, your total AOI points for that event is going to be 90. So you have there is, for consistency and ability to catch limits is how, we judge our tournaments, right? You finish first place. If you finish first place, you got the highest limit, and you caught the highest limit, right? And anglers who catch limits consistently and find good fish are going to get that's how we're going to award the Angler of the Year this year. And Blake Abbey commented on here: do you have to fish all events for AOI, or is it a certain number of events with the total length? No. So there's no AOI minimum. Again, because it's based off of your total number of links. So if you don't fish an event, you can just say, hey, you can mark off potentially, if you catch 70 inches, right, that's a loss of 70 points. So you get 0 points for events fished. So again, there's no minimum. It benefits anglers, again, like Angler of the Year should, that consistently come out and fish our events, and produce limits. So I think it's unique. It's something different. And again, it's rewarding the angler the Angler of the Year, who's caught the most fish.
And I was going to caveat on what Chris commented earlier on check in, check out. Must check in, obviously, on the checkout 3:30 or 15:30 for Bailey because he's Air Force. Your feet are on some type of hard surface, whether it's grass, pavement, a boat dock, at 3:30 and checked off the water through the tournament dashboard or tournament management system. So that's what checked out means. You're on dry land. You're no longer in your kayak on the water. 3:30, and hopefully that's clear enough. And I'm not going to talk it right now. Like if you're not checked in on time, because I'm ill prepared right now, and my focus has been on other things at work. What happens if you don't check in on time? If Bailey's got that on the top of his head. If not, we can talk it later once we do the captain's meeting. But again, with some of
Yeah.
the rule changes, we allow 2 motors. It's got to be safe, and obviously, if you come out there with a lifetime with two 36-volt trolling motors, one on the front, one on the back, we're going to deem that unsafe. Not knocking a lifetime. I said lifetime, I believe, but that boat's not capable of handling 2 motors, let alone one of that size. So it's got to be in a safe manner. The preferred way. I know some of us are DIYers, which is completely fine, but attached in a safe manner and not. It's somewhat subjective, right? Because I can look at that and we're going to discuss it as a team and be like, hey, this appears to be unsafe. And we're all going to take a look at it. And if we deem it unsafe, it's going to be unsafe. And we don't. And you got to stick within the limits of your kayak manufacturer. And I made probably not a 100% accurate statement, but some kayak companies do not include the weight of the kayak in their capacity. So be thorough and understand what the limits of your kayak are if you decide to place 1 motor, or 2. Right? Some kayaks perform better with no motors on them, and some are greatly degraded with 1 motor on it, depending on the size of it. So take a look at that. Be safe about it before you come out and fish the event. I think it was last season, we had some people that probably shouldn't have been on a kayak show up to our events, ill prepared, and may or may not have. I wasn't there. They flipped their kayak maybe once or twice, or fell out of their kayak, whatever the case was. Be aware of your surroundings. It's all right. Like if you see a safety issue, be direct about it with that individual and bring it up to us. If someone's intoxicated when they show up to the boat ramp at 5 o'clock in the morning, don't let them get on the water because you cannot be consuming intoxicating substances or illegal substances either prior to, during, or after the event. So I'm not saying that those things are going to happen or have happened, but just be aware of that. If you see something unsafe, by all means, bring it up to the individual and be like, hey, I'm going to address this with the tournament directors, or you can bring it up directly. However you want to approach the situation, don't be afraid of the direct approach. Everybody I've interacted with for the past 6 years in Florida have been nothing but kind, like positive interactions 99.9% of the time. So just be a direct. If you have a conflict, we on the water, we always say, hey, just have a conversation with that other angler and be like, hey, can I fish right here? 99.9% of the time, they're going to say yes, or go ahead and fish through, go ahead and fish that line, or just talk to the other angler, and it solves a lot of problems. But if you see any rules violations, address it and let somebody know. Let Chris know. Let myself know, or whoever you feel comfortable talking to. Let them know, and we'll resolve the issue. But looking forward to the season. If you have any questions in regards to the lakes, by all means, hit up myself or Jeff, because we've kind of balanced the boundaries, the lakes, eligible launches, post-tournament location. But any questions, that's all I have.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that, because that's going to segue into some of the other stuff that I'm going to talk about with safety and the way forward with FKBT and how we're going to approach some things. But before I jump into that, I did see some questions while you were talking, Sean. Blake, so basically you have to fish all of them. Yeah, Angler of the Year. It's in the title of the award. It is the angler who performs the best throughout the entirety of the year. I think putting it on a set number of things. I mean, we calculate the winner based on total number of inches, and we're going to throw in an extra 10 points to anglers who catch a limit, right? So that's an angler who went out there and caught a limit of 12 inches, right? They're going to get an extra 10 points. So that's a way that we're going to move forward with that. We're going to see how it shakes out this year, but we are going to crown the angler that competed the most consistently throughout the events. So moving forward to that, Justin, definitely the check-in, check-off feature is something we're using to definitely allows us to know to make sure our anglers are getting off the water safely. Again, this fishing out of a kayak fishing out of a boat, fishing on the water. There is definitely some safety concerns there, right? So this feature that Tourney X has is very, very nice. For us, it puts us in a position to know that anglers are on and off the water safely, so that we don't utilize unnecessary resources for sending law enforcement and rescue teams out on the water, when it could have just been a simple, hey, I forgot to check off, and I fell asleep at home. I got off the water at noon and I just fell asleep, so we couldn't get a hold of the angler. But they're not out on the water. They got off at noon because they were tired or sick, and they went home and fell asleep. Right. So just make sure you do your due diligence. If you're going to get off the water before the official line's out, make sure you contact one of the tournament directors and let them know, hey, I'm getting off the water. I'm safe, but I'm not feeling well, or I got called off and I got to go home or go do X, Y, and Z. Just to give us the courtesy and let me know, so that I can make sure that you're taken care of, and you're off the water. But Blake, in relation to the check-in, we would prefer you to check in once you get to the boat ramp. Say you get to the boat ramp, you're pulling into the boat ramp, or you're whatever the case is, you can check in there. And then whenever you get back to the boat ramp and you have beached your kayak, or you're within a 50-yard vicinity of the boat ramp, just go ahead and make sure before you leave to go to the award ceremony to check off the water before. You got to be checked off before 3:30 anyways, because I'm going in there right at 3:30 to verify who's checked off. Any angler that hasn't been checked off before 3:30, we will post on there. I'll go back into the rules and verify what that checking off the water after 3:30 looks like. I want to make sure that I say it correctly, and I'll go in and I'll post that information. And we'll talk about that more in our mandatory captains meeting to make sure that that's squared away for your guys' sake. Cutoff for fishing, Barbara, are you talking about pre-fishing? When is the cutoff for pre-fishing, or cutoff for fishing in the tournament? Our tournament times are going to be are on the Tourney X. So our lines in time is 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and our lines out is 3 p.m. with a photo submission deadline of 3:30. So you got all of your photos have to be submitted to the Tourney X tournament dashboard before 3:30, so that we can get them judged and ready to go for 4 o'clock award ceremony start. Hopefully that answered your question there. But yeah, that's also on the tournament details on the dashboard as well. But I'm going to segue into what Sean was talking about, because I think this is big topic of conversation right now. Safety on the water, life jackets. I mean, 360 light, navigation lights, cold weather gear for you guys, with it being coming into the winter months there, right? It does get cold. Just overall safety, animal safety, right? I overheard on the Headwaters event that one of our anglers got bit by a gator, right? So just keeping your head on a swivel, making sure that you are competing in a safe environment, right? So the big thing that I want to hit on here is our responsibility as anglers, right? As tournament directors, we have our own set of roles and responsibilities. But for the anglers' roles and responsibilities is, if you are competing with an angler, or you are pre-fishing with an angler, or you are just out fun fishing with an angler, to wear a life jacket, right? If you see an angler that isn't wearing a life jacket and they're like, oh, I'm good, or I forgot it, what have you, right? Communicate that to us as your tournament directors. I would always suggest having an extra spare life jacket with you on board your vessel in some shape, form, or fashion, right? Or in your truck, your vehicle, that you'll be able to go and get in the event that another angler potentially forgot a life jacket, right? So we all possibly have seen what happened, this past weekend on Toledo Bend, and that is something that scares me to death as a tournament director, of getting those phone calls that's something that might have happened to one of you guys, right? Or one of you guys are missing. So we're trying to maximize, or not really maximize, emphasize the importance of safety, right? There's going to be some potential. There are not potential. There are going to be some verb changes to some of the verbiage in our rules, right? As things happen in trails, national trails, those are things that all clubs and all national trails should learn from, right? And take into account on how things are worded. So we're going to go back. I'm going back tonight and I'm going to look at a better way on how I can word the wear of a life jacket, right? We're going to definitely enforce the wear of life jackets into pre-fishing. If you are pre-fishing or fishing any event that is FKBT sanctioned, regardless, you're supposed to be wearing a life jacket as it is. But we're not going to promote any sort of angler who is out fun fishing, pre-fishing, whatever have you, and not wearing not wearing a life jacket. That's just how it is, and like it or leave it is where I'm going to put it, right? You can agree with it or you can't, but I can tell you from a FKBT standpoint, a tournament director standpoint, a safety standpoint, your lives and well-being are our number one priority. We want you guys to come on the water, fish and have fun, but most importantly, go home to your families. And the minute that we get reports of hey airman so and so wasn't wearing a life jacket, my next question is going to be, well, did you go up and tell them, hey, do you know that do you know that you're not wearing a life jacket, or why are you not wearing a life jacket? Go to them, say, hey, you're missing your life jacket, put it on. And if they give you any kickback or say, no, I don't need it, you report it to me. The member will be immediately disqualified. And then depending on how that conversation goes, potentially removed from the club, right? Safety is the number one priority that we have here. And if we have anglers that are failing to do so, again, we're just gonna remove those members from the club, and have them go about their day, because we're not gonna allow that. Again, follow the rules, and we will post an update to verbiage on what PFD wear is going to look like for the future of the club. Not saying wearing the PFD is going to prevent someone from drowning. Absolutely not, because certain PFDs are designed to do certain things. And we can't, we're looking at what that looks like for the club on what kind of PFD, what that looks like. So that's our preliminary thoughts on it. We're still looking at what right looks like to where we can get something standardized and pushed out to you guys. But just know, if you're out fishing in general, if you're out on the water in a kayak or on a boat, you're just out on the water fishing, wear a life jacket and let people know where you're at, right? When you're expected to leave and when you're expected to come back. Right? Fun fishing, pre-fishing. A good rule of thumb that I have is I share my location with all of my friends and my family. And I'm saying, hey, I'm going out fishing, especially here while I'm in Minnesota and North Dakota. I'm by myself out in the middle of nowhere with no service, right? So something were to happen to me with the frigid water, I have a Garmin Connect Safe app that I use as well that now alerts family members if if something were to happen to me. Or anything, right? It'll send alerts to the authorities and also the family members that I have it assigned to. But yeah, I have Harrelson here. He said it should be 100% mandatory for members from the time they sign up for the club, and that's something that we're definitely looking into. Again, we want to be a club that is, taking the steps needed, the precautionary steps needed to ensure safety for all folks on the water. I've seen many Facebook photos. I've seen many videos that have been posted on social media throughout my time, the past 3 years, of where anglers that are in our club that are out fishing with their just fun fishing that aren't wearing their life jackets. We've had members competing in our state championship that was disqualified for not wearing a life jacket. We had another one of our members had to disqualify themselves from the Bassmaster event because they accidentally left the boat ramp without wearing a life jacket. It's going to take all of us holding each other accountable and having the courage to say, hey, go put a life jacket on. Don't let a person enter the water without a life jacket on. Period. Okay? At least challenge them. Right? I would say that for everybody, even if they're not fishing our club. Say, hey, educate them on the importance of a life jacket. It'll save a life. So that's all I'll talk about a little bit on that. And sorry I did, because I just hate seeing people's lives impacted for failing to make, just one step in potentially preserving somebody and preserving your life. It's called risk management in the military. And that's something that I hold very dear to myself and to my people that are underneath me, and making sure that we are able to go home safely to our families each and every day. So I want to make sure that we're applying proper risk management in this club as well, when it comes to safety and the education of the safety component to it as well. So Sean, do you want anything? Is that, or did I pretty much cover it?
Well said. I got nothing else.
So with that, again, we're right at that hour mark, 59, or right at an hour. And I don't want to keep you guys much longer than that. I think I hit everything that we were, I think that's everything that we wanted to talk about. Again, not next Thursday, but Thursday, October the 9th. So in 2 weeks from now, October 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we're going to be doing our Central Florida Winter Haven Multi-Lake Challenge Captains Meeting. Get signed up. We're at 4, so don't wait until the last minute to get signed up. Get signed up. Get registered for the club. Get your liability waivers and rules acknowledgement form signed and filled out and sent to the Florida Kayak Bass Trail email page. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys. If you have any questions regarding this event or any challenge, AOY, whatever, we have our rules. Everything is outlined there. I highly encourage you guys to go in there and be very familiar with them. Know how AOY is captured. Know what it's going to take to get qualified for the championship. So just do your due diligence. Take some time out of your day. It's about an hour read, if that. And get squared away on those rules. And we look forward to seeing you all on Thursday, October 9th at the captain's meeting for our season opener on Winter Haven. But until then, tight lines, be safe, always wear your life jacket, hold each other accountable, and we'll see you guys next Thursday, October 9th. And yeah, that's going to be the end.
Later.
Later, guys.